cipher called Ayuk Becker. I pronounce it Ayuk Becker. I don't know how to pronounce the Becker part, Bacher or whatever. And we may have time to get into that today. Did you find it? Can you find it over there?
Not open yet.
Okay. Whoa. Yeah, so I have like a little page, a laminated page of different ciphers. So while you're looking for it, I'll explain what it is. It's actually a series of 3 columns. So how they work exactly, I don't remember. But the first column, the column on the right, starts with Aleph and it lands in Tes. And then it goes on. Yeah, you got it. And then the middle column starts with Yud and it goes down to Tzadi. Then after Tzadi comes Kuf and it goes all the way down to, what's the last one? To the Tzadi Sofit at the end. So we're I just got it because I see that it mentioned it in the SIFRA Tzniuta here, and I thought, well, let's just bring it over here and see what I can do with it. Okay, so now I showed that on my video, and give me a second, and I'll, well, let me just bring the SIFRA Tzniuta here carefully. Be careful with the camera. Okay, so we are, all right, we are on page Tuf Resh Pei Vav. The quote from the SIFRA Tzniuta is Mispashtan Asfon the Basar. So the letters, they spread around the back of his kolalo bezera de anpin until they reach their anpin, so to speak, and they become a part of their anpin. Now we got the number Gimel, and Gimel says down below, and it says Gimel Reba Hadrat Melech Shabir Kan Lefidarko Le'el Be'inyan Butzin de Kardanusa. What's going on in Butzin de Kardanusa? This Ata Be'itrui. So we have this phrase, and one of the things I think that I like to try to do is understand the certain words that he uses that, you know, don't seem to fit in 100% or don't have an easy explanation. This phrase here is one of them. It's crowned with a crown. That's what we would think it means. But here he says the Ira Beziga Abba Ve'ima. So he said the Esater Be'itroi means is Lashon Yichud. That it means that Abba Ve'ima are making a Yichud. Abba Ve'ima v'lohoded as their anpin, and that's what it is Ater De'itroi. This was the last sentence that we had learned previously. And I over there when we were learning it before, I didn't really didn't see what he was talking about, because I thought we were talking about the Rosh of Eric Anpin, and here he comes over and he said, no, that's not what it means. It means a Yichud between Abba Ve'ima. V'lezecha b'bir kan de la'achar zivug Abba Ve'ima ranal, az mispashtim ha'aras osius yud ke involved the Abba Ve'ima, so they come together. V'shorish zer anpin, which is another phrase which he says, he doesn't say, okay, so he calls das, according to my thinking, as the shorish zer anpin. This is like the shorish zer anpin, because it's not zer anpin yet. At this place, it's just the, what he called the catalyst, or the seed of zer anpin. So then he says like this, he said, v'nichlalim, and then they become incorporated. Let's see what else this says in it. Incorporated, bo. V'oz mispashet asfon ha'aras osius Yaakov. So then these letters, the ha'ara from them, not the letters themselves, of Yud K and Vav, shall Abba Ve'ima V'shorsh Zer Anpin. Also, I think that I don't know why he takes the root to tell us that it's a Shorsh Zer Anpin, whereas he has an Abba Ve'ima. He says it right out, but he doesn't say das here. He says the Shorsh Zer Anpin, which could be a definition of das. So anyway, going on, the Basar Achar Zivugam. So now Abba Ve'ima make a Yichud, which he calls his, what does he call it? He calls it the Isater Be'itrui. So I guess the Ater is the Abba, and the Itrui is the Nukva, is female, is Bina, or Imah. Zivug shel Abba ve'Imah ganal, v'hiskaladol kulam, kol os is Yud, K, and Vav, into Zer Anpin, which is the Os Dalet. Moshe Kosav Haruchu b'Sefer Hadrat Melech, that he, I guess it's Reish Yud Zayin. He says, I'm not sure what this base is doing here, but base, Bishar Maimari Rashbi, also over there, Yud Ilod is added Bekutra, the Hatika, so that's where he says, in the Kutra, the Hatika, so he's talking, does he mean to say then that he's talking about the Abba, an Imah of Kesser? Could be, that's what he's talking about, because he says the Isade Behita the Atika. Ve'elen Tlas Mispashtin, that is the Abba Ve'ima, or the Yichud that comes from it. He says the three of them, and the seed, he calls it not the seed, the shorish of, the shorish of Zer Anpin, which is Das. Tlas Mispashtin Bezer Anpin Ein Sham Shaharik Ad Kan. So let's look over there, because we went into it a little bit. He says, V'ratzon Lomer, Shemispashtim b'mochim choch b'bina das dezer anpin, so that's where they wind up. And we have a note here, I think it's number Zion, that I want, number Vav, that I want to do. Vaz nechlalam os Yud, K, and Vav, elu b'mochim dezer anpin. Rei od l'holon, like later on, the hisyashvus osius elu, that the settling in, or the joining in of these letters, b'zer anpin, who al yedei saros amarnaki. Okay, so that's how it actually gets. And so this is really, maybe it's the same thing that others are saying, just slightly different words, I'm not sure, because he did take us into the Rosh, the Abba Ve'ima, that's the Chochmah Bina of Eric Anpen. V'ayin sham b'shem Hadrat Melech, so look over there in the name of the Hadrat Melech. Now, previously, a number Dalet, looking up at the top, he had said, leading up to that, it said a line above the Dalet, he says, V'is kalalu kulum kol osis Yaakov Ezer Anpin shuhu os vov. So now, down below, he says in just number Dalet, we're going to do number Dalet, he says, Ritzon lomba bezer Anpin shuhu atzmo os vov, Zer Anpin itself is the vov. Hine yesh bo od osius, but there are three other letters, Yud, K, and Vav. That Yud, K, and Vav goes into Zer Anpin. So he had said before, was careful that he said before that the shorsh is Zer Anpin. V'chein mavur b'SIFRA d'tzniuta l'holon, Vav la'elo and Vav l'tata. So he's going to say there's two Vavs. Hey la'elo, hey l'tata. He says two Heys. Bir b'Hadrat Melech sham v'zel l'shono, Vav la'elo, Ki osius Yud, K, Vav totalian b'chatika b'remez. So that we had said previously that they're coming down. I think that's what talian means. They're coming down. They're hanging is what it means. But I'm trying to picture it in my mind what this could mean. He says osius Yaakov talian b'chatika b'remez. So if we would have said me'atika, it would be easier for me. But they're talian inside or on inside of Atika, but it's only a remez to it. You can't really see it. V'gam kol v'kein l'tata b'zer anpen ad kan. Now that was just a little side note, but what I want to look at is number Vav. Well, let's look at number Vav. In the up above, there's a Vav, and then up above that, he has a little black print. And it says, Ve'elun tlas mispashtim b'zer anpin. So these three now spread it to zer anpin ein sham sheharicho shehasha'arech ad kan. V'ratzolma shemispashtim b'mochin l'choch b'bina das the zer anpin. So there we have some arichas here. I'll just try to look at it. I'm not sure if this is the one where I saw the Ayik Becker. I'm not sure. So he says, V'hine, Rei b'shar ma'amari Rashbi, v'zel l'shona b'toch devarav, that behind Mazla is Chavrim Tlas Reshin K'de'isa Hosam. Now, I'm assuming that when he says it like that he's referring to the Mazel number 13. That's where the Yichud actually takes place. that the Abadika Moach is, Tikun rather, is number 8, and this is number 13. So I think that's what he means. Hasan be'idra zuta, that's over there. Ve'elan klas mispashtim dezer anpin. So now they're going as a 3. That gets us into the concept of Ayik Becker. So he said, kedefarish v'azel. The high chachmasa is galif ba'apik. Well, here's a word that you could really work on here. The chachma is this lashon carving. So I'm thinking that in the context of what it means, it's carved somehow. He's using the word carving. So in some way, it breaks through a barrier, is galif ba'afik, and goes out. Ad kan. So that could use a lot more explanation. Ayin sham. Because idra, so that's the language over there. B'zel l'shona vis avid l'klas reshim, and it made itself into 3 heads. And one of the reshas has all the others in it. Now, as a 3, these 3 now spread into zer anpin. And from these 3, which he said in the up above, is that there's really a remiss to it at this point. That's it. You can't see it. That's the way I look at it. So Ume'ela Na'amrin Kula, all of them gets into everything. Iskalif High Chachmasa, so this breaks out, or it might digs its way out, I don't know, of this Chachmasa. V'hafek Chad Nahara, and it brings out one light. 2 Iskalif High Chachmasa, then furthermore, this Chachma also makes its way out, is smashik and flows down, I guess downwards. V'ayal b'reishah the zer anpin, so it goes into the reishah zer anpin. Vis avid mocha achra, and it makes another moach inside of zer anpin. I mean, it makes mochin acherin ad kan. And b'vura be'idra zuta is of the sham shemispashtim b'shlosha mochin. So the spread of these 3 mochin, choch b'bina and now das, the zer anpin, and they become into zer anpin, spread there. V'him came zechu gam came kavanas Hadrat Melech. So he says that's pshat in the Hadrat Melech. So let's go to another one. He says, going down to the next parak, how are we doing time-wise? Now, according to the words of the Hadrat Melech, Shehevi Inyan Zeravikan, who brings this idea over here, Mashbet the Thalas Reshim Shemispashdi B'mochim, which are the mochin which are Chabad as Zer Anpen, Haim Sod Osius Yaakov, they're the same letters of Yud, they are the secret of the letters Yud K and Loyin Hamurim Khan, which are talked about here. So now if we look at the image, or the image of the description of these three heads, Hanal, Rei B'Shar Mamari Rashbi Le'el Sham Shabir of Zel Shono is Nehiro Tlas Reshin. So the 3 heads, which were represented, I guess, by Chochma Bina Das, he was to say a hint of that. There's a hint from them. Eloi. So he said, let me go back again. Is Nahiro Tlas Reshin Eloin the Hainu Abba Ve'ima V'chad the Kolil Lon the Hainu Das. So that's what Das does. So the mazel that we're talking about after this, of a mazel Talion, so they actually, so mazel the amr basar hochi, we're talking about the mazel, of a mazel Talion, and for the mazel, they start going downward, shibimena is nahar of a nechlalubo. Now that's why I said the last time, I'm a little confused about when you get into the mazels. Mazel's on the front of the face of Eric Anpen. So he had said, that breaks out some way. He used that word is galif, that carved its way out, had gone. So it needs explanation, but the contrast between these 2 ideas, and now he's saying it goes through the beard. The kind of mazel with the amber basel haching, the mazel talion shebebena is nehiru of nechlalo ad kan. Venira ki Hadras Melech neket kan kifi habir harishon the sharma mari Rashbi. He says, so we said what the Ki Hadrat Melech, he says, okay, he's a Maimon Rash Bikan, the Hainu Abba Ve'ima V'das. V'hashta Asi Shafer, the Hadrat Melech, Azal, the time goes according to the way he sees this, the Ale, the Sod, Osius, Yud, K, and Vav, Haim Abba Ve'ima V'shor Das, Kanal, V'ha'aros. So there's going to be more said about that. Well, I guess these are ha'aros. How are we doing time-wise? Okay, I'm going to do 5 minutes, a little bit more, and we'll read the Yafashah, because this is, I think, where the Ayik Becker came in, and see what we could do with it. He says, the Rabbi Yafashah, this is a different picture. Shabir Kanda Iru Be'ini His Pashtos Osius Yud K involve Loyan, the laceration, and now that's number Zion. Shemispashtim Acher Kach Beguf Eric Anpin. So now it's slightly different. Bishar Partsufi Atzilus. Besod Kalim, and they're like Kalim, what? They're like Kalim. Oh, Milas Anpin, what is Milas Anpin? Oh, Milas, excuse me. Oh, the Milas, the Basar, where it says that it goes around the back. He says, most of the Mata is Kalalo. It really refers to what's going on later on in Zer Anpin, where it says that they become incorporated in Zer Anpin. V'zel L'shon L'sham, Mispashtan Asvan, that the lights spread. Ki ha'osios heim ha'kalim, because the letters are kalim. That's the Rav. Shehem mida, which what does kalim mean? Ki is something measured or something restricted. The kitzvah, I looked up the words kitzvah. I know we use it all the time, and so I looked it up in Aramaic and I looked it up in Hebrew, and they don't say. I wanted to say corner, or something like that, or our contraction. I didn't say that. It's more like permission, something like that. Like maybe in modern Hebrew, it means like stipend. That's another word they use for a stipend, like some kind of a grant. But that's not what it means here. Mida v'kitzvah means that it's a contraction. Shelo yispashto or yosubedai. And what's the purpose of it? That's what the purposes of it is. V'chein bebechinas. So that's the aspect of the bechina, which is called Havaya b'milui ben. So Havaya b'milui ben is, I says he wants to say that this is the ultimate contraction. Shehu b'bechinas gvuros v'tzimsum. So here we have Labasa is Kalado b'zer anpen, and then after that they're all incorporated up in zer anpen. Kisham b'zer anpen hu gilu yadinim. This is where you start to see that there are in fact dinim, because in Eric anpen there are no the din. There may be the source of the dinim, but it is completely white. V'lechem b'zer anpen sham hu iker makum gilu ha'osios v'his kalulusam b'sod gevuras v'dinim v'tzimsum. Hanal Adkan. Okay, so there is something I want to read here. It's on number Ches. Where was number Ches? So he has a quote down from up above, and he says, "V'zel l'shono sham mispashtim asvon ki ha'osius he mekalim." So, I can't remember exactly where I saw the Ayik Becker. I hope it's here. So let's look at this number Ches, the bottom. So he says, Rei be'etz chaim, he says, like the V'zel L'shona B'dilog, B'tikuna B'daf Yud Vav, he says, what? Amar beperish the asvon inun l'gabe nekudim kegufa l'gabe rucha. So he says, what does it say? The letters are like a nekuda, like the body, the gabe rucha, in regards to a ruach that comes into it, which would be sort of like, we say the osios represent Olam Asiyah, they represent the bottom, and up above that would be the ruach. Ki osios nikra gufa la'olam shehem kalim. Adkan. Ein sham v'rei od be'etz chaim, he says, ki osios tamed la'olam hem bechinas HaKalim. They're always the aspect of the Kalim, Kenoida, Adkan. So he said of Rei Gam L'Cholon, he said of Rei Gam Be'etz Chaim, what happens over there, V'zed T'ach Devarav, Tzar Shetedu Ki B'Zohar Ein Bo Tesha Spheros. In the Ein Bo, he does not have 10 Spheros. Maybe he means Ein Bo Rak Tesha Sfiros. It only has 9 Sfiros. They really mashlim him liyud Sfiros. Beim kain ein bezocher only 9 Sfiros. And Tesha Kalim, Besoch Tesha. So he says that's interesting what he says here. There's only 9 inside of 9, Besoch Tes, inside of 9. V'hem Kalim of Kalim, it comes in number 27, Kalim, Communion, Kof Zion, Osius, HaTorah, which corresponds to that. Now this is a whole subject here to be looked into, but I'm getting a little nervous because I don't see the Ayik Becker. Because Sfira Nivdas Begimel Kalim, each Sfira has really is built out of 3 Kalim. Now this is where he gets to it. V'hem Gimel Osius, and they are the 3 letters. So the 3 letters start with a combination of 3 letters, which is Yud Kain Vav. And then all the Kalim, he says, are made out of 3s. Because Sfira Umeschalek Beseder, and how, in fact, and this is just a hint to what Ayik Becker is all about, because I don't know what it's all about. But he's giving us a little idea here. V'hem Gimel Osius, because Sfira Umeschalek Beseder Ayik Becher, and it gets itself, it gets division in this Seder, which is called the cipher, called Ayik Becker. HaTesha Achodim Hem Tesha Kelim Penimim, V'HaTesha Sirius, these 9 tenths, Hem Kelim Emsaim, V'hem Meos, Hem Tesha Kelim Techitzoni. So let me read it again. We said there were 3 sets of 9, which makes 27, which makes it possible that's the Ayik Becker actually contained 27 letters. So as we saw at the beginning, Haim Tesha Kalim Penimim, and so the first letter is like the Penimi part. Haim Tesha Asirios, then into the category of the 10s, it starts with Yud. Haim Kalim Emseim, that would be the middle ones. Vatesha Meos, and then the 9 would refer to hundreds. Haim Tesha Kalim Chitzonius Ad Kan. Now we see in a lot of places like, say, what is the phrase for it? The 216 times, that is the 216, 72 times, there we go, times 3, 72 times 3 is 216, that you see in certain prayers where he puts all of them in combinations of 3s. So there is some secret to why we use the concept here of changing things from an original 9 into a secondary 9, or a second 9, and then also combining it with a third 9. Now, what that does for you, I just know that it happens. That's it. Okay, so I want to bring that in, and we ran a little bit over time on this. Let me see if I can get this stopped, and we'll go to the next.